Pardon the wrestling, but I am Brian, and it's time for your Pro Wrestling Revue, where we look at the biggest stories in professional wrestling every single day. And before we get started, hit that subscribe button if you are new to this channel so you can stay up to date with new content just like this. And hit that like button because it'll help others find this just like you did. If you are new to us, what we'll do is we'll go through some quick stories and then we'll hammer home the big stories. So today in the world of professional wrestling, we'll go over the WWE Draft and the final results from that. We'll look at AEW's first day of ticket sales for All In at the Wembley Stadium, and Vince McMahon back in the news because he has given his 2 cents to the creative process and who Roman Reigns should face next for the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship, and the responses are kind of funny. We'll get into that as well. So the draft finished up last night, and while all the superstars are finalized into where they will be going in terms of brands, the ring announcers have also swapped brands. Samantha Irvin is now going to be the announcer on Raw, and Mike Rome will move over to SmackDown. This makes sense when you consider that pretty much every single real-life couple that WWE has, like Becky and Seth, Braun and Raquel, and Ricochet and Samantha Irvin, are all on the same brand. So this makes sense, and frankly, I'm happy for it because that means we get her Imperium announcement still, and that Chelsea Green announcement that makes me laugh every single time. So if you are a Samantha Irvin fan, who's your favorite announce that she does? Next, Leva Bates has announced that she is leaving All Elite Wrestling. She's been one of the longest tenured employees of the company. She took to Twitter and she said the following: "As of today, my contract with AEW has expired. The last 4 years have been quite a ride. I've learned so much and grown exponentially. I've seen wrestling history take place as someone who was on the team since before the first show. I appreciate and love all the crew, staff, and talent. I will cherish all our memories together. I've given my time, my focus, and my effort to the company, but now I've got to focus on myself, my future, and my career. Hope you all, my friends, fans, and loved ones, stay with me through this next chapter of my journey. Hope to make you all proud no matter where I go." Next up, the New Japan Strong Resurgence card is really starting to take shape, and they are trying to make this a banger of a card because they recently announced Jon Moxley will be a part of the New Japan Strong show in the end of May. And let's go over the card real quick of what has been announced so far for the show. There's currently only 4 matches announced for the Strong Resurgence card, and includes a mini title tournament for the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. First match will be Mercedes Moné versus Stephanie Vaquer. Winner of that will take on the winner of Willow Nightingale and Momo Kogo. So those 2 winners will take on each other later in the night for the vacant title. And there's a #1 contendership match for the IWGP US title, and that'll be between Hiroshi Tanahashi and Will Ospreay. Jon Moxley's match has not been announced just yet for the Strong Resurgence card, so it'll take place on May 21st on Fight TV. I'm definitely looking forward to how this card will fill out, and currently it's set up to be a very good one. I'm looking forward to that potential Mercedes versus Willow matchup because those are 2 wrestlers I didn't think we'd see wrestle each other anytime soon, and we'll have that possibility at the end of May. Coming off the heels of the draft, NXT is back on USA tonight, and we'll go over the card here. And this is what you can expect in just a few moments from the posting of this video. For the North American title, Wesley will defend against Drew Gulak. The NXT Women's Tag Team titles are on the line between 2 teams that are both heading to the main roster. Alba Fire and Isla Dawn will defend against Katana Chance and Caden Carter. Gigi Dolan and JC Jane will go one-on-one once more. Joe Gacy versus Joe Coffey, JD McDonough versus Dragon Lee, which was announced earlier today, Axiom versus Scripps, and Danny Palmer will make her NXT debut. And with quick stuff out of the way, let's get into the bigger items. And starting off will be the WWE Draft. And as we head towards the Excel spreadsheet here, we're not going to go over every single draft pick here, and I will look over here, so don't mind me because that's where I can see all of it. Now, all the yellow spots with italics, those are your NXT call-ups. The men and women have all been listed individually, and that would include teams and factions that you see here on the screen. So you may see some double dipping here where Otis and Chad Gable are in the Alpha Academy on the right there with teams and factions. And then on the bottom, on the left side rather, you'll have Otis and Chad Gable appear in the men's and women's side of things too. There you go. You see Raw and SmackDown and the free agents here. Now, we'll get into the free agents here in just a second, but looking at the Raw side, I would say your biggest movers here would be Drew McIntyre, Imperium, and when it comes to the NXT side of things, I would say I'm most looking forward to Zoe Stark and Katana Chance and Caden Carter and see what they can do on the main roster. When it comes to the overall draft, I don't think we got any huge surprises. Now, the NXT call-ups, a lot of them were call-ups that, yes, they should have happened a while ago. So Katana Chance, Caden Carter, Grayson Waller, Zoe Stark's probably past ready at this point. So, I mean, there's a few people that were definitely ready to get that call-up. But there's still a few people I'm surprised that haven't gotten a call, but they may save those for actual surprises later down the road instead of using the draft as a way to bring them in. Now, talk about people that may not be ready just yet. I would prefer to see Alba Fire and Isla Dawn maybe cooking just a little longer in NXT. And Odyssey Jones, I'm not sure what he's doing up here on the main roster just yet either. But overall, with surprises, I was very let down by the draft. I'm not entirely sure what I was expecting. I guess maybe a Big E appearance, a Randy Orton appearance. We didn't get any of that. So to see nothing like that happen within the draft is kind of a disappointment. Additionally, just looking at the Raw side of things, you can see the tag team division is alive and well over there, where you have both the men's tag team champions and the women's tag team champions on Raw. And it's very interesting to see because we talked about NXT's lineup earlier and how we have Katana Chance and Caden Carter going up against Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Both teams are going to the main roster, and they're both challenging for the women's championship tonight. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on there. My guess is Alba Fire and Isla Dawn retain, and they make those SmackDown Tag Team Championships. I don't think they have enough tag teams, at least on the women's side of things, to pull that off. But either they have to float these champions or something else is going to have to happen. Kevin and Sammy, same thing there. But at least with the men's division, you can split those titles off and make it make sense. But they didn't mention if those two champions will be able to go to different brands. It sounded like yesterday when you had Raquel and Liv taking on Bayley and Dakota that they didn't mention that they are allowed to do that. It sounded like if you're on Raw, you could challenge for these titles, but sorry, if you're not here, you can't. So they got to have something in mind for that. And we also got to start combining these titles or splitting them up. So with Kevin and Sammy, either put those two separate brands or give them one set of belts. Same with Roman. We don't need all these different belts that mean the same thing, just carrying around all over the place. As you can see, Raw has a lot more talent on their side of things because they have an extra hour. Makes sense. I think they also came away with the victory in the draft. So you got Drew McIntyre over there. You still got the Judgment Day. You got Kevin and Sammy on the show. You're bolstering this tag division just across the board. You got the New Day over there. I assume Big E will show up at some point. And you look at the NXT side of things, they probably didn't win that battle, but like I said, with Drew, Judgment Day, Imperium, the New Day, Kevin and Sammy, they're pretty loaded. They got Seth, Shinsuke, and Cody as well, so they're in good shape in terms of the roster. And looking at SmackDown, they did get the OC, which includes AJ Styles. He had a very ho-hum return, I guess. It probably has a lot to do with them using the OC's music and not his. I think it would have been received a lot better. In terms of, I guess, big surprises for them, Edge is going back over there, which is good. The Bloodline stays together entirely, which I wasn't, I guess, expecting for some reason, but it did happen, which is good. Damage Control's moving over, which is a big boost for SmackDown. Same with Asuka and Bianca. It mixes it up a little bit, which is good. And then, of course, you got Mia Yim joining over on the women's side with SmackDown when she joined with the OC. And you also have the Brawl and Bruce stay there with the Street Profits moving over. So they're building up that tag division on the men's side as well. When it comes to the NXT talent going over to SmackDown on the draft, they definitely, I believe in my mind, that they won out. Cameron Grimes, Grayson Waller, Pretty Deadly, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. I think they hit it right on the head with the NXT call-ups to SmackDown. Raw, you can be like, I don't know if that was the right move. Regardless, SmackDown could still be that A show when it comes to the wrestling. Now, they lost Imperium, which is a big loss. They lost Sami Zayn, another big loss. They lost the New Day, another big loss. But they have a chance to really show out on SmackDown. They have 2 hours to make it tight still and to really prove what they can do over there. They don't have tag team titles at the moment that is going to, I guess, take time away from building those individual single stories. If you want to keep Raw as a tag team division, I'm okay with that too. At the same time, I do like tag teams on both shows, but if you want to commit to that, you got to commit to it. Free agency. I don't like this. I don't know anyone that does like this because you look at the list of names there. One sticks out like a very sore thumb, and that's Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is the only one that makes sense to be a free agent. A big name like that. So you have Brock Lesnar, Logan Paul, Randy Orton, those kind of names, that would make sense to move over brand by brand. Now, when you have names like Ziggler, Elias, Ali, it just doesn't scream the same thing between free agents. Why are those names particularly able to shift between brands? Is it because they're unsigned? I don't know. So if you have a theory on the free agent side of things, let me know. Let me know what you thought of the draft, who made out, who won the draft, and let me know in the comment section below who you still want to see called up from NXT. Next up, today was the very first day of the AEW All In pre-sale for the Wembley Stadium show, and it was a rousing success for AEW. Just look at the history of big shows that have sold. So Clash of the Castle, the Georgia Dome show that WCW put on, and AEW's right up there with them or above it. And to see the huge showing from our friends out in the UK and out in Europe that are going to be going to this event and just packing Wembley Stadium, of all places, a place that holds less than 30 events a year, and AEW is showing what they can really do in that market. Now, as you see here on the screen, I got Tony Khan's tweet, and he confirmed the reports we heard from the Observer and elsewhere when it came to how well they did on day one. And let's take a look at this tweet. So Tony says that today is one of the best days in AEW history. Thank you to all buying AEW All In tickets today. Off to an amazing start already. 36,000 sold for 3.8 million pounds, or in US money, that's $4.7 million. He says we're only getting started. More great seats are going on sale. He says let's celebrate tomorrow on Dynamite. Now, there are going to be sales opening up to the public here in the next couple of days. They're going to start opening up more seats. We're going to see where this eventually lands in terms of how many they can sell. I believe this is probably on the low end of what people were guessing that they could pull off, is in the 30 to 40,000 range. And considering this is day one, maybe people are waiting for payday tomorrow, or maybe people are waiting for payday on Thursday, or maybe people are waiting for the general sale to open up, or maybe a different seat to open up. This could be an absurd number. I'm not going to say they can sell it out, because that is asking a lot and is almost tripling what they've done so far. They got time to do it. In terms of where they've been at historically, I believe they're already ahead of the Georgia Dome show during WCW's heyday. Clash at the Castle, in terms of, I think Meltzer put out that when it comes to conversion rate over pre-sale registrations versus tickets bought, that the conversion rate is better for AEW right now. If AEW surpasses what Clash of the Castle did overall, I think that would be a rousing success. What they've done so far is also a success. That cannot be scoffed at, because almost $5 million gate on day one is insane. And this is before anyone has been announced. Any matches have been announced. So you don't have CM Punk announced. You don't have Kenny Omega and the Elite announced. You don't have any of the New Japan stars announced. You don't have anything announced yet for this show. This is just day one of AEW doing a show in a market they haven't done before in a huge stadium. So very much looking forward to what they can absolutely pull off here. This is exciting if you're a fan of AEW, because this show is going to be absolutely bonkers. And what I'm very interested to see is how will this show up on our screens? Will it be through pay-per-view? Will it be through the new rebranded HBO Max, simply known as Max? Will it be on TNT or TBS? How can we watch this? We don't know that yet. So more details to come soon, and this is insane. So congrats to those involved, because just think about 5 years ago when All In, the original All In happened, where was that back then to what it is now. This is everyone involved in this whole process, from Cody to the Bucks, to Tony Khan, to Ring of Honor back in the day, to all the wrestlers that showed up that day. This is a huge, huge win for them. And this next report comes from Give Me Sport about Vince McMahon. If you're unsure of what Roman Reigns' plans are for Night of Champions, you're not the only one. So WWE Creative has been getting suggestions from Vince himself, because, Vince isn't in the weeds anymore, but he's still going to be there for the big stuff. And this is a report Give Me Sport is reporting through an interview with WrestleVotes. And here's what WrestleVotes had to say about the current situation of Roman's next opponent. I was told that Vince McMahon has pitched several ideas for Roman Reigns' next opponent. A few of them were even kind of scoffed at. Like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm curious who doesn't make any sense. I'm going immediately to Omos. That's my first guess. Who would be next on that list? I really don't know. Maybe like a Von Wagner or something like that. I'm very interested to see what that list of names ends up being if we ever find that out, because it's just the further proof that he's just not in tune with the audience right now. Who do I want to see Roman take on? I mean, let's just go look at the draft roster, because if we're going to be going off of that, and we have to now, let's just look at it, shall we? And taking a look at this list, so we got AJ, Angelo Dawkins, Ashante the Adonis, Austin Theory, Bobby Lash. It's Austin Theory. It's got to be Austin Theory, right? Yeah, that's the only one that doesn't. Rick Boogs, maybe? Yeah, I think Austin Theory is probably his idea here. Yeah, let's go with Austin Theory. Who do you think Vince is trying to propose as Roman's next opponent? Let me know in the comments section down below. But if you enjoy this content, if you enjoy any of our content, please do us a huge favor and hit that subscribe button and turn that bell notification on, because that's how YouTube sends out those beautiful notifications to your phone to let you know that we have a new video out. And also helping our channel is hitting that like button, because that's how more people like you will find this content and perhaps they'll like it. So again, thank you for your support, and until the next one, thank you. And remember, NXT is on tonight, and I'm going with Austin Theory. It's got to be Theory. Thanks.